You know, when I first sat down to sign the paperwork for my new tractor, the dealer was smiling so wide I thought to myself, this is it. This is my lucky day. The number on that contract? $90,000. It sounded expensive, but I was ready for it. I'd saved up the money, calculated everything, stayed within my budget. But you know what happened 6 months later? My bank account was down another $42,000. $42,000. And this wasn't from a breakdown, not an accident, nothing like that. These were those hidden costs that the dealer conveniently forgot to mention when I was putting my signature on that dotted line. And today I'm going to reveal 5 costs that will turn your planned $90,000 tractor purchase into a genuine financial nightmare of $130,000 or more. We're going to talk about why your first service appointment can cost more than a used pickup truck, how insurance eats your budget faster than you think, and why that factory configuration actually doesn't let you start working at all. And most importantly, at the end I'll tell you about one document that can save you at least $15,000 right there in the dealer's office. So stick around until the end, because that last point is what actually works and what I personally verified the hard way. All right, let's go. Cost number 1, and it hits where it hurts most. Additional equipment. Look, the dealer shows you this beautiful shiny tractor in the showroom and says, here it is, ready to work, factory configuration, everything included. You look at the price and think, okay, that's fair, that's a good machine. But this is where things get interesting. You get home, try to hook up your trailer, and realize, wait, where's the quick attach hitch? It's not there. The dealer says, oh, that's a separate option, $2,000. Okay, moving on. You want to put on a front-end loader because without it, a tractor is basically half useless on a farm. The loader, another $8,000 hydraulic quick couplers for implements, $1,200. Third remote hydraulic hookup, $900. And here you are sitting there adding up the numbers, and you realize just to get this tractor actually working on your farm, you need to add another $12,000 to $15,000 minimum. And the dealer, when you were signing that contract, simply didn't think it was worth mentioning that the factory configuration is a pretty toy that can't even pick up hay without additional investment. Let me break it down with a specific example. Take the popular John Deere 5075E. Base price about $45,000. Sounds reasonable for a 75 horsepower tractor, but what do you get for that money? A bare machine. Without a cab with air conditioning, that's plus $8,000. Without a front-end loader, that's plus $7,000. Without rear hydraulic 3-point hitch with quick couplers, that's another $2,500. Without additional hydraulic remotes, $1,500 more. And there you go, your $45,000 just turned into $64,000, and that's not even the ceiling. Now imagine you need a more serious machine. John Deere 6120M, 120 horsepower. This is a real workhorse for a mid-size farm. Base price, $95,000. But again, that's bare bones. Premium cab with heated seat, decent sound system and climate control, plus $12,000. Automatic implement control, $3,000. Precision agriculture, GPS system, that's a whole separate story, anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000, depending on the level. Heavy-duty suspension, $2,000. Additional work lights for night operations, $800. Rear PTO with variable speed, $1,300. And you know what's the most frustrating part? Many of these options come standard in Europe. I talked to a German farmer who bought a comparable Fendt tractor in Germany, and his base package included the premium cab, entry-level GPS, and tons of hydraulic remotes. But here in America, manufacturers decided farmers are willing to pay for every little bolt separately because they know. Competition is fierce, everyone looks at the base price, and very few calculate the real cost of ownership ahead of time. Another thing nobody thinks about in advance: implement compatibility. You might already have a bunch of implements from your old tractor, plows, harrows, mowers, fertilizer spreaders, and you think, yeah, great, I'll buy a new tractor and use my old equipment. Nope. Turns out the attachment standards have changed. Your old tractor had Category 2 and the new one has Category 3. And now, To use your old equipment, you need adapters. Each adapter runs from $300 to $700 depending on the type. You've got 5 implements. That's plus $2,000 to $3,000 just on adapters, or you buy all your implements new to match the new standard. And then there's the electronics issue. Modern tractors are literally packed with sensors and computers, and many manufacturers make it so their equipment only works with their own implements. Meaning if you've got a John Deere tractor, to use all the smart features like automatic depth control for plowing or automatic PTO speed adjustment, you need to get John Deere implements too, and those naturally cost 30 to 40% more than comparable aftermarket options. You get stuck in a closed loop. Either you overpay for branded implements or you lose half the functionality of your expensive tractor. I once calculated on a farmer forum how much it really costs to fully equip a new Case AIH Farmall 75C for full operation on a small farm. Base tractor price, $52,000. Added a cab, front-end loader, proper hydraulic package, decent tires instead of the cheap base ones, underbelly protection, heavy-duty bumper for woods work, additional work lights, a proper radio instead of that cheap Chinese thing that comes standard. Final price on the receipt, $73,000, $21,000 more. That's almost half the cost of another base tractor, and this isn't luxury stuff. This is the minimum package for actual work, but that's just the beginning. Cost number 2 crawls out when your tractor hits its first 50 hours of operation, maintenance and service contracts. Listen carefully because this is where the real bomb hides. Most modern tractors, especially from major brands like John Deere or Case, are packed with electronics. This isn't Grandpa's tractor, where you could pop the hood, turn a wrench, and fix everything yourself. No. Here you've got computers, sensors, software, emissions control systems, electronic hydraulic management. And this is where the fun begins. First service comes at 50 hours or 1 year, whichever comes first. You think, well, okay. Oil change, filters, no big deal. You get to the dealer, and they hit you with a bill for $1,200. $1,200 for an oil change. You're shocked. You ask, guys, what is this, oil made from liquid gold? And they tell you, no, it's just that we've got engine oil change at $300, transmission oil change another $400, hydraulic system oil change $350, plus air filter $80, fuel filter $60, oil filter $40, plus computer diagnostics $120, plus mechanic labor. That's all billed by the hour, and there you go, $1,200. And you're standing there thinking, maybe I'll do it myself. You open the hood, and the computer is blinking a red light at you. You try to drain the oil, but the system won't let you. First, you need to enter an access code through the diagnostic port with a special scanner, and that scanner costs $3,500, and it's only sold to authorized dealer service centers. This is called right to repair, and major manufacturers are actively lobbying laws that prevent farmers from independently repairing their own equipment. It's a whole movement right now in America. Farmers are suing John Deere and others, but for now, the laws are on the side of the corporations. But wait, that's not all. They say, you know, you've got extended warranty here that's about to expire. Don't you want to extend it? Extended warranty for 3 years? Only $7,000. And you're standing at a crossroads. On one hand, the tractor costs $90,000. And if something serious breaks, repairs could run $20,000 to $30,000. Turbo goes out, $15,000. Electronic control unit burns out, $8,000. Hydraulic pump dies, $12,000. On the other hand, $7,000 right now hurts. But here's what the dealer doesn't tell you. Most serious breakdowns happen either in the first year when factory warranty applies or after 5 to 7 years of operation. An extended warranty covers exactly that period when the tractor is most reliable. So you're paying for insurance for a case that probably won't happen. But dealers know how to apply psychological pressure. They tell you horror stories about a farmer in the next county whose engine blew after 2 years and he paid $30,000 for repairs. And you think, damn, what if that happens to me? I personally got this extended warranty on my first tractor, $7,500 for 4 years of coverage. In those 4 years, I had one breakdown. A coolant temperature sensor failed. Cost of warranty repair, $450. So I paid $7,500 and used $450. The remaining $7,000, pure dealer profit. Lesson learned. Now about service contracts. Many dealers push annual service packages like pay $3,000 a year and we'll do all scheduled maintenance. Sounds convenient, right? No need to think about when to change oil, when to check filters, everything on schedule. Just bring the tractor in quarterly. But do the math. $3,000 a year, that's $9,000 over 3 years. And realistically, if you buy your own oil and filters and change them yourself, it'll run you about $1,200 to $1,500 over 3 years. The difference? $7,500 that just evaporate. I found this guy on YouTube who broke down the entire service package. Turned out most of the work you can easily do yourself. Engine oil change, half an hour of work if you know what you're doing. Air filter replacement, 10 minutes. Literally just open the cover, pull out the old one, put in the new one. Checking fluid levels, 5 minutes. Greasing all points, half an hour with a smoke break. The only thing that really requires special equipment is computer diagnostics. But here's the thing, there are independent shops that bought these diagnostic scanners and offer services at 2 to 3 times cheaper than official dealers. Diagnostics at dealer, $120. At independents, $40 to $50. The difference is obvious. But here's another wrinkle. Many dealers write in the contract that if you service elsewhere, you lose warranty. This is borderline legal because there's a federal law called the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act that says manufacturers can't deny warranty just because you used aftermarket parts or outside service. But dealers still write it in fine print, and many farmers just don't know their rights and are afraid of losing warranty, so they keep overpaying. Let's move on. And this is where it gets even tougher. Cost number 3, insurance and registration. Many people think a tractor is farm equipment. It doesn't drive on public roads, so insurance is cheap or not needed at all. Wrong. In most states, if you've got a tractor worth more than $50,000, you need full insurance. Why? Because the bank that gave you the loan on this tractor wants to protect their investment, and this insurance isn't cheap. On average, full coverage on a $90,000 tractor will run you from $2,000 to $3,500 a year. Multiply that by 5 years of financing. That's $10,000 to $17,500. And this isn't included in your initial calculation. When the dealer shows you the monthly payment on the loan, they don't include insurance. They say your payment will be $1,200 a month. But actually, with insurance factored in, it's already $1,450 or $1,500. Let's break down what affects insurance cost. First, the tractor's value itself. The more expensive the machine, the more expensive the insurance. Second, the state. In California, insurance on the same tractor will cost about 40% more than in Idaho or Montana. Third, your age and experience. If you're 25 and just starting farming, insurance will be more expensive than if you're 50 with 30 years of experience. Fourth, the deductible. The lower the deductible, the more expensive the insurance. The deductible is the amount you pay yourself in case of an insurance claim before the insurance company starts covering costs. Let's use an example. John Deere 6155R cost $135,000. Iowa 40-year-old farmer, $1,000 deductible. Full comprehensive coverage plus liability insurance, $3,200 a year. If you lower the deductible to $500, $3,800. If you raise it to $2,500, $2,900. See how deductible affects it? But that's still not everything. Registration. Yes, even if the tractor rarely goes on public roads, in many states it needs to be registered as a vehicle, especially if it weighs more than a certain amount, or if you plan to occasionally drive it on roads between fields. Registration can run from $300 to $800 a year, depending on the state and machine weight. In Texas, for example, farm equipment registration is relatively cheap, $300 to $400. In New York, all $800. Again, over 5 years, that's $1,500 to $4,000 flying out of your pocket. Another insurance point many people miss: insurance covers not just the tractor itself, but liability to third parties. Meaning if you accidentally take out a power pole with your tractor or drive into someone's fence, insurance covers it. But there's a catch. Many basic policies have liability coverage limits, for example, $100,000. But what if you didn't just hit a fence, but plowed into an expensive parked pickup worth $80,000, plus caused $50,000 in building damage? That's $130,000 in damages, and insurance only covers $100,000. The remaining $30,000 out of your pocket. So many farmers get extended liability coverage up to $300,000 to $500,000, and that's plus $400 to $600 to annual insurance. I heard a story from a farmer in Nebraska. He bought a new Case IH Magnum 340, so that's a monster machine, 340 horsepower, cost $250,000. Took minimum insurance just to get the bank off his back. $2,000 a year, $5,000 deductible, $100,000 liability limit. 6 months later, he's working in the field, needs to move the tractor to another plot, decided to cut across a dirt road, misjudged speed on a turn, tractor skidded, went off the road, and crashed into a neighbor's garage. Wooden garage, old, but the neighbor had his beloved classic '69 Chevy Camaro in there, collector car valued at $120,000. Plus garage damage, $20,000 in repairs. Total, $140,000 in damages. Insurance covered $100,000, $40,000 had to come out of his own pocket. This is why you shouldn't skimp on coverage limits. And now pay attention, because the next item is what many people don't account for until the last moment. Cost number 4, financing and hidden interest. When you walk into the dealer, they immediately say, "Don't worry, we've got great financing terms, only 3% annual interest for 5 years. Sounds perfect, right? 3%, that's practically nothing. But let's break down what this means in practice. You take a loan for $90,000 at 3% for 5 years. Your monthly payment will be approximately $1,600. Over 5 years, you'll pay out about $96,000. So the overpayment is $6,000 in pure interest. Okay, that's understandable. That's the price of credit. That's normal. But here's what's not so obvious. First, many dealers offer so-called deferred financing. Like first year with no payments, interest starts accruing later. Sounds tempting. Bought a tractor, don't pay for a whole year, can start earning money, then pay off the loan. But here's the catch. During that first year, interest is still accruing. It's just added to the principal. And when you start paying after a year, your debt isn't $90,000 anymore, it's $92,000 or $93,000. And now you're paying interest on interest. In the end, instead of $6,000 overpayment over 5 years, you'll pay $9,000 to $10,000. Second, many don't know about so-called hidden financing fees. Loan origination fee, $500. Early payoff penalty. If you want to close the loan early, they might charge a penalty of $1,000 to $2,000. Collateral appraisal fee, another $300. Credit check fee, $150. Credit insurance fee, this is a whole separate topic I'll explain now. And all this in fine print in the contract you're signing without reading, because it's 30 pages of legal text. Credit insurance is when the bank offers you to insure your life and ability to work in case you can't make loan payments. Like if you die or become disabled, the bank doesn't lose money. Insurance pays everything out. Sounds reasonable, especially for older people or those with health problems. But this insurance typically costs 20 to 30% of the loan amount. On a $90,000 loan, that's $18,000 to $27,000 over the entire term. And this amount is spread across monthly payments. You don't even notice. Your payment instead of $1,600 becomes $1,950. And they tell you this is all-inclusive tractor insurance, credit insurance, all in one payment. And you don't realize that half goes to the loan and half to various insurances you might not even need. Now add this. If your credit score isn't perfect, and for most small farmers it's not stellar, those 3% can easily turn into 5 or 6%. Credit score below 650, get ready for a rate of 7 to 8%. And then the overpayment isn't $6,000 anymore, but $14,000 to $15,000 or more. That's almost a third of the cost of a small used tractor that you're just giving to the bank for using their money. Let's calculate specifically. $90,000 loan. Option 1, 3%, 5 years, payment $1,617 per month, total payout $97,020, overpayment $7,020. Option 2, 6%, 5 years, payment $1,740 per month, total payout $104,400, overpayment $14,400. The difference in rate is only 3%, but the difference in overpayment is over $7,000. That's huge money. One more thing few people think about: early payoff. Let's say after 2 years you've got extra cash, sold a good harvest, got an unexpected inheritance, doesn't matter. You think, great, I'll pay off the loan early, save on interest. You go to the bank and they tell you, hold on, you got a clause in your contract about early payoff penalty. 3% of remaining debt. You've got $50,000 left to pay, penalty $1,500. And this is legal. Such practice is widespread because banks lose money on interest if you close the loan early. All right, we've already counted up plenty of extra money, but the final point is brutal. Cost number 5, operating costs and depreciation. Now I'll tell you what this means and why it's the most painful moment. When you buy a new tractor, you think, great, this is an investment. In 5 years, I'll sell it, recoup some of the money. Right? Wrong. Tractors lose value terrifyingly fast. In the first year of operation, it loses 15 to 20% of its value, just like that. You bought for $90,000. After a year on the secondary market, it's worth $72,000 to $76,000. That's $16,000 to $18,000 evaporated into thin air. You haven't even really earned much on this tractor yet, and it's already lost a fifth of its value. Why does this happen? Because the used equipment market is huge, and there are tons of offerings. Plus, many farmers lease tractors for 3 years, then return them to the dealer, and these tractors with low hours get sold at 30 to 40% discount from new price. So why buy a new tractor for $90,000 when you can get a 3-year-old one with 300 hours for $60,000? The difference is enormous, and many choose used. After 5 years, the tractor will have lost 40 to 50% of its original price. So your $90,000 turns into $45,000 to $54,000 on the secondary market. That's $36,000 to $45,000 in depreciation. $40,000 on average? It's like buying a new car and burning half its value in a bonfire over 5 years. Now, operating costs, fuel. A modern large tractor guzzles diesel like crazy. On average, if you work 300 to 400 hours a year, that's about 2,000 to 3,000 liters of diesel. At current prices, which fluctuate from $3 to $5 per gallon depending on region and season, that's $8,000 to $15,000 a year just on fuel. Let's take average, $10,000. Over 5 years, $50,000 just on diesel. But it also depends on what work you're doing. If you're just driving with a trailer across flat fields, consumption will be lower. If you're plowing heavy soil or working a front-end loader, the engine runs at high RPMs. Consumption can be twice as high. I know farmers who on big tractors like John Deere 8320R with 320 horsepower spend $20,000 to $25,000 a year just on fuel. That's insane money. Tire replacement. Many don't think about this, but tractor tires are a consumable and an expensive one. A set of good tires for a large tractor costs from $4,000 to $8,000 depending on size and manufacturer. Michelin or Firestone tires for a 120 horsepower class tractor, $6,000 for a set. They're replaced about once every 3 to 5 years depending on how actively you work and what surface you drive on. If you work a lot on asphalt or rocks, tires wear faster, if only on soft ground, slower. But on average, over 5 years of ownership, you'll need to change tires at least once, maybe twice. That's another $4,000 to $8,000 over the ownership period, or even all 12 to 16. And here's an important point. Many dealers put cheap base tires on new tractors to lower the price. These tires last maximum 1,500 to 2,000 hours. But if you put quality tires, they'll go 3,000 to 4,000 hours. So in the long run, quality tires are more cost-effective, but their initial price scares people off. And many farmers fall into the trap. Buy a tractor with cheap tires, year and a half later they're worn out, have to buy new ones, and these new ones now cost real money. Fluids, filters, small parts that wear out. That's another $1,000 to $1,500 a year if you do everything yourself. Oil for regular changes, air filters, oil filters, fuel filters, hydraulic filters, coolant every 2 years, brake fluid, grease for all joints and bearings, drive belts, hydraulic hoses that crack over time, light bulbs, fuses, electrical bits and pieces. All this is pennies individually, but over a year, it adds up to $1,500 easily, over 5 years, 7 to 8,000. And if through the dealer, double that, 14 to 16,000. Another hidden cost almost nobody talks about, storage and upkeep. You can't just leave a tractor outside in the rain. It needs at least a shed, preferably an enclosed garage. If you don't have a ready building, you'll need to build one. A metal shed size 10 by 12 meters with concrete foundation will run you 8 to 10,000. A full garage with insulation and heating, 20 to 30,000. These are one-time costs, but they exist, and you need to factor them into total cost of ownership. Plus, winter storage. If you're in a state with cold winters, the tractor needs proper winterization. Drain water from cooling system or fill with antifreeze. Full fuel tank so condensation doesn't form. Disconnect battery or connect to maintenance charger. Grease all exposed surfaces with protective anti-corrosion compound. If you don't do this, rust spots can form over winter, hoses can freeze and burst, battery dies. And in spring, instead of starting work right away, you spend a week on repairs and replacing damaged parts. So now let's add everything up. Tractor cost, $90,000. Additional equipment, $15,000 to $20,000 if getting a proper work package. Service and warranties, another $10,000 to $15,000 over 5 years. Insurance and registration, $12,000 to $21,000. Loan interest and fees, $7,000 to $15,000 depending on rate. Fuel, $50,000. Tires, $6,000 to $16,000. Fluids, filters, consumables, $7,000 to $16,000. Storage and upkeep, $10,000 one time. And the harshest, depreciation, minus $36,000 to $45,000 from value when selling. Total real cost of owning a new tractor over 5 years, from $170,000 to $220,000 depending on model, state, operating conditions, and your driving style. And you thought at the beginning you'd stay under 90. That's 2 to 2.5 times more. And this is when many start understanding why so many small farmers buy not new but used tractors. A 3-year-old tractor for $60,000 instead of new for $90,000. That's $30,000 saved right away. Plus, the first wave of depreciation was already suffered by the previous owner. Plus, all the teething problems already came out and were fixed. Yes, you lose on warranty, but if the tractor was well maintained, risks are minimal. But I promised you at the beginning that I'd tell you about one document that can save at least $15,000. And this isn't a joke. When you come to the dealer, ask to see what's called an out-the-door price breakdown. This is a complete breakdown of all costs, not just the tractor price, but all add-on options, all fees, delivery cost, pre-delivery preparation cost, taxes, absolutely everything. Most dealers don't want to show this document because all their markups come out, but you have the right to request it. And when you see it, you can start negotiating each line item. Delivery for $1,200? What if I pick up the tractor myself on my own trailer? Pre-delivery prep for $800? What is that even? Wash the tractor and fill the tank. I can do that myself. Dealer documentation fee $500. What if I fill out the paperwork myself? Warranty activation fee $300. What even is that? Warranty comes from manufacturer automatically. I personally knocked $9,000 off the initial price just by going through this document line by line and negotiating. $9,000, that's almost 10% of the tractor's cost. And all it took was an hour of time and willingness to say no to inflated fees. The dealer resisted at first, but I was ready to walk and go to a competitor, and eventually they caved. Plus, always look at what the competition offers. If John Deere has a model for $90,000, then Kubota, Mahindra, or New Holland might have something similar for $70,000 to $75,000. Yes, the brand isn't as loud, but functionality is the same, and the difference of $15,000 to $20,000, that's your real money. I know farmers who completely switched to Kubota because these tractors are 30% cheaper than John Deere with comparable specs, and reliability is just as good, and most importantly, you can repair them yourself. They don't have these closed computer systems. One more life hack. Buy a tractor at the end of the dealer's fiscal year, usually December or end of quarter. At this time, they have sales quotas to meet, and they're willing to make discounts just to close the deal. I've heard stories where Farmers knocked out 12 to 15% discounts simply because they came in the last week of December when the dealer had one sale left to meet their quota. The dealer was willing to work almost at zero just to not miss the manufacturer bonus. And last thing, study all government support programs for farmers. Different states have grants and subsidies for purchasing farm equipment. In some cases, you can get up to 20% of tractor cost as a grant if you prove it's needed for farm development and job creation. It requires paperwork, but 20% of $90,000, that's $18,000, clean. For that money, it's worth sweating over documents. In summary, buying a new tractor isn't just a number in the showroom. It's an entire financial strategy where you need to account for dozens of hidden costs. But now you know what to look for. You know, what questions to ask the dealer, how to negotiate, and most importantly, how not to let yourself get scammed. Because at the end of the day, it's your money, it's your farm, and every dollar saved is a dollar that can go toward development, buying livestock, repairing other buildings, or your family at the end of the day.